A Private War 2018 film starring Rosamund Pike, Tom Hollander and Jamie Dornan. It's based on a real-life story of a famous war correspondent, Marie Colvin, working for the Sunday Times for many years and reporting directly from some of the worst conflict on the globe of our time. Sri Lanka, Iraq, Syria, those were all among the countries she visited as part of her job, and actually back in Sri Lanka she was quite seriously wounded and lost vision in one eye, which led to her wearing the characteristic pirate eye patch which you can see on the poster. The movie shows us her life between 2001 and 2012, starting pretty much with the Sri Lanka period where she lost the eye, and with each passing year counting down the years to the events of 2012 in Homs in Syria. Which I will not spoil what happens, I wasn't aware while watching it, but you do get the sense that the movie is building up to that moment. And as it is, the movie has two distinct layers. One is a war journalism drama, showing us all the horrible stuff that is happening around the world as experienced by Marie and her colleagues. War crimes, mass graves, artillery strikes, children going hungry and dying of wounds. It's all here, and it's quite graphic and it's quite moving as well, to be honest. It allows us to really take a different perspective on those situations, watching them up close instead of reading a dry article in the press about, how many people died again. As Marie herself states in the film, it's important to reach individual people to tell their personal stories, because that's what we, the audiences, can connect to. The second layer of the film has to do with the title, A Private War, a war that is going on inside Marie. We see the conflicting worlds inside of her. When she's not on assignment and spends time in London, she enjoys life. She goes to parties, she meets men, she drinks a lot, smokes even more, she laughs, and she's able to have fun. But the moment she hears about some new conflict brewing somewhere in the world, it just snaps in her. She can't help herself. She has to go, be there and bear witness. Even knowing that this is dangerous, even knowing that she's making a sacrifice out of her personal and family life, the latter one being basically non-existent, she still has that urge, that inside drive that forces her to go. That internal conflict is visualized quite well, mainly thanks to Rosamund Pike's performance. I think she's brilliant in the role, and later on, seeing pictures and short clips of the real Marie, it's uncanny how closely she manages to resemble her. That goes not just for the looks, which, makeup and stuff, which also progresses through the film as Marie is aging and her body is taking the physical toll of the constant stress and dangerous situations. But it also goes for the facial expressions, the mannerisms, and the way she, especially in the early days after getting the iPad, she constantly adjusts her, this is something new for her. So the mannerisms and last but not least, the voice. She has this raspy, cigarette-laden voice of an older woman, which again fits with how Marie sounded in real life. So the central performance really does work here. Now, there were some voices upon the movie's release from people that knew Marie, which pointed out how a lot of the details, especially from her personal life, were changed for the film. I've read about those, and yeah, there are some inconsistencies, but I can understand why they were made. These changes, they were made basically for dramatic purposes, and they don't really take away from the message of the film, which, much like the whole picture, is twofold. One, it wants to praise journalism, the real journalism, the search for truth under even the most horrifying circumstances, and the impact that this uncovered truth can and should have on the world around us. And two, it examines a certain brand of people, daredevils who cannot have just a simple, quiet life, people that need to jump into the fire, throw themselves into the mix and be there no matter what. And it shows the consequences of that sort of life for those people. I think on both layers the film is really quite solid, has a great central performance that the film is built around, and it manages to weave the narrative in a way that is constantly building towards that final piece, which itself leads to a very powerful ending. Good stuff.